Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Good to be talking about this.
So today we're diving into something pretty significant that's been hitting the news wires. These reports of recent aerial clashes over the India-Pakistan border.
hmm
And what's really grabbed our attention, what we want to explore with you, is this specific angle. The alleged involvement of Chinese-made J-10 fighter jets.
That's right. Pakistan flying J-10s against Indian aircraft.
Yeah.
Well, it's a major development.
Exactly. So we're looking at the news articles coming out, trying to understand what facts are emerging, what the implications might be, why this is getting so much attention.
Yeah.
Our mission, really, for this deep dive is to kind of pull out the key info, get a handle on the significance of seeing a Chinese jet potentially in action like this, and just understand the bigger picture.
And it's fascinating, isn't it? Because you're seeing this collision of intense international tensions and really cutting-edge military technology potentially playing out in real time. These initial reports, like the Reuters piece by Saeed Shah and Idris Ali, they point to something pretty pivotal.
What's that?
Well, the possible combat debut, you could say, of a top-tier Chinese fighter against aircraft designed, in the West, in Europe.
And there's some confirmation.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
U.S. officials confirming Pakistan did use its J-10s. And the claim is these jets shot down at least 2 Indian military aircraft.
Wow. Okay. That immediately raises the stakes. And serious questions, I imagine.
Absolutely. Lots of scrutiny.
And it wasn't just any Indian aircraft reportedly involved, was it?
No, that's another key point. One U.S. official specifically mentioned a French-made Rafale.
A Rafale jet. Now, that's a highly capable aircraft.
It is. And interestingly, the Indian Air Force hasn't commented yet, or at least not when these reports first came out.
Which could mean anything, I suppose. But if these accounts hold up, this is more than just a skirmish.
Exactly. Because seeing how a modern Chinese fighter like the J-10 performs against something like the Rafale in a live engagement, that's gold dust for defense analysts everywhere.
You can see why. They'll be picking that apart for ages.
Totally. It feeds directly into how people assess China's military capabilities, especially when you think about other potential hotspots like Taiwan or the South China Sea.
The Indo-Pacific context?
Precisely. So the type of aircraft involved is critical. That U.S. source saying one was a Rafale. Huge detail.
And they also said Pakistan's other main fighter wasn't used.
Right. The U.S. officials stated Pakistan's F-16s were not involved in these specific encounters.
Okay, so that helps narrow it down, focusing the attention on the J-10s.
It does, although Pakistan's own statements add a bit more, maybe confusion, maybe detail.
Yeah.
Their defense minister, Khawaja Mohammad Asif, apparently claimed J-10s downed 3 Rafales.
3 out of a total of 5 Indian planes, they claimed.
That was the claim reported on Thursday, yes. So you have slightly different numbers floating around.
But the common thread is the J-10 being credited with success, including against a Rafale, according to at least the U.S. sources.
That seems to be the core allegation, yes.
You mentioned earlier, both the Rafale and the J-10 are often called Generation 4.5 fighters. Can you break that down a bit? What does that actually mean for people not deep into military aviation?
Sure. It's a good question. Basically, Generation 4.5 means they're really advanced, but not quite full stealth like the absolute latest planes.
Okay.
So think sophisticated radar, really good electronic warfare systems, for jamming or confusing the enemy, and they can carry a whole range of modern missiles and bombs.
But they aren't invisible to radar like, say, an F-22 or maybe China's J-20.
Exactly. They don't have that all-aspect stealth built in from the ground up. They're like a bridge, a very, very capable bridge between the older generations and the true 5th-gen stealth fighters.
Got it. That helps place them. And no surprise, the world is watching this closely.
Oh, yeah. The article mentioned big players, the U.S., Russia, China, too, all calling for calm.
Standard procedure, maybe, but it underlines the risks.
Definitely. It's a reminder this is a nuclear-armed region. Any kind of serious clash is dangerous.
And that detail about Dassault Aviation, the French company that makes the Rafale, they couldn't comment immediately because of a public holiday?
Yeah, it kind of highlights how suddenly these reports seem to land. Caught people off guard, perhaps.
So this naturally brings in the analysts, the experts, trying to figure out what actually happened.
Right. And Douglas Berry from ISIS, that's the International Institute for Strategic Studies, a major think tank, he points out something crucial.
Which is?
That the air warfare communities, the real specialists in China, the U.S., Europe, they'll be desperate for any scrap of real-world data from this.
What kind of data?
Everything. Tactics used, techniques, how did the pilots handle the situation, And most importantly, how did the equipment actually perform? The jets, the missiles, the countermeasures.
It's like this incredibly high-stakes, unplanned test scenario with obviously real human consequences.
In a way, yes. And you even see it spilling onto social media, apparently. Discussions about specific missiles.
Like China's PL-15 versus the European Meteor missile, people are getting into the technical weeds.
They are. The PL-15 is this very long-range Chinese air-to-air missile. The Meteor is considered one of the best in the world, used on the Rafale. So people are speculating, was it PL-15 versus Meteor? Who won?
Now, how much do we actually know about that level of detail?
And that's the crucial counterpoint. Experts are urging caution. While the speculation is running wild, the actual confirmed intelligence is thin.
For example,
Well, for instance, do we even know for sure if the Indian Rafales involved were carrying Meteor missiles on that specific mission?
right, or if they fired any.
Exactly. We just don't have that information confirmed yet.
The-
There was one quote from someone in the Western defense industry.
What did it say?
Pretty blunt. At the moment, it's not possible to judge anything. We know so little.
That puts the brakes on things a bit. It's easy to jump to conclusions.
Very easy. It really underscores how preliminary all this is. We need verified information, and that can take time, especially in situations like this.
Good reminder. And stepping back, we have to remember the history here, don't we? India and Pakistan. It's a long and troubled relationship.
Absolutely. Decades of tension. 3 major wars, countless smaller clashes and border incidents,
And both are nuclear powers.
which always hangs over everything. So any incident involving advanced fighter jets being reportedly shot down, it inherently carries the risk of things spiraling.
And the report suggests it might not just be about the jets. There's mention of other activity.
Yes, there were reports on Thursday of blasts in Jammu, in Indian-administered Kashmir, suspected to be from a Pakistani drone attack.
Okay, so drones are in the mix too.
Seems so. And then you have competing claims. Pakistan saying it shot down, I think the number was 25, Indian drones overnight.
25, that's a lot.
It is. Meanwhile, India stated its air defenses stopped Pakistani drone and missile attacks aimed at military sites.
So claims and counterclaims flying back and forth. Drones, possibly missiles, alongside the fighter jet reports. It paints a picture of, well, a pretty active, intense situation.
It certainly does. This tit-for-tat narrative, especially with drones and maybe missiles, adds another really worrying layer. It suggests maybe a broader pattern of activity, not just one isolated aerial clash.
Okay, let's try and bring this together a bit. Based on these initial reports and the analysis we've seen, what are the main takeaways for you?
I think the biggest one, especially with that U.S. official confirmation, is the J-10 involvement. Pakistan using Chinese J-10s, reportedly downing Indian aircraft, including potentially a Rafale.
That's the headline grabber.
It really is. And it instantly generates massive international interest, raises huge questions about the real-world effectiveness of China's military exports, particularly against top Western tech.
And it throws another log on the fire of India-Pakistan relations.
Definitely adds a new, very serious dynamic to that already tense relationship.
So for you listening, why should you be paying attention to this?
Well, I mean, it's not just about 2 countries far away from many people.
Well,
This event, if the details bear out, gives us a rare, potentially very revealing glimpse into how modern military technology from a major power like China actually stacks up in the real world. And it also just hammers home how fragile things can be in that part of the world. A nuclear flashpoint region, ongoing rivalries. It's all there.
It really is, and it leaves you with a pretty significant question to mull over, doesn't it?
Go on.
Well, think about it. We have limited confirmed facts right now, but
Yeah.
clearly tensions are sky high. So what are the potential long-term ripple effects of this reported clash?
How might it change the military balance there?
Yeah, or perceptions of it. What does it mean for future military technology development, not just in Asia, but globally?
What other questions does it raise for you about security, about technology races? Yeah. Exactly. It's a situation that's clearly still unfolding. Lots more to learn, I suspect. But these first reports, they give us a crucial, if a pretty sobering starting point.